for anyone that's designing with high availability, the first thing, I don't know if this is small, but we can always draw on the whiteboard. But the idea is that there's no single point of failure in your environment. So the first thing that we do, and if you're familiar with Amazon, they have multiple geographical zones. So in our world, we have a data center in Las Vegas, we have a data center in Valley Forge, and the theory is that there's no point in time that both of those data centers are going to be out because of some natural or man-made disaster. The next thing to think about is within the data center. So when you're looking at building your own cloud or using a cloud provider, is there power redundancy? Is there network connectivity that's redundant into the switch fabric that goes into the server? All of these things need to be redundant. And then from a storage perspective, we use EMC, or Dell EqualLogic SAN. Some other customers use different things, but there's concepts around rated hard drives. So if a single piece of the hard drive fails or a single thing on the EMC or on the SAN device fails, that there's redundancy there. And then we talked about the network. And then from a physical host perspective, make sure that your virtual machine has the ability to move around in the cloud in case there's an outage from a single physical server, so your applications aren't impacted. And then at the application level, which is really where I was hoping to have more of an interactive discussion, how do we build the applications? The first thing that I look at from a web perspective is if I have, if you're familiar with 5 nines of availability and protocols, what you really want to do, I think there's a little thing there. All right, so the global load balancing really is going to take your traffic from the external activity that goes into your website. So maybe your customer's on Las Vegas, you've got another customer on Valley Forge, and they'll drive that traffic to the web cloud that's closest to them. In the event that this whole data center goes down, then we still can use the primary facility. And so there's redundancy there. And that global load balancing is very new technology. It's gotten a lot less expensive than it used to. So that'll really help you from the global perspective. And then globally load balance your web servers. So when you're building your .NET applications or your Java apps, just make sure that there's multiple web servers there. One is it helps with the load. So if a single server dies, you're not crushing the rest of your website traffic. Is everyone familiar with load balancing? Or yeah, all right. And then on the database side, this is where it becomes really critical from our perspective is how do you do that? So if you lose a data center on say on Las Vegas and something goes down, like how do you keep all of that data in sync? So there's concepts around log shipping of the data. So you commit a transaction in the database, you ship that over to the other geographically redundant site. So that'll help you provide higher availability. If you are familiar with SQL Server, there's a new feature in 2012 called Always On. And what Always On will let you do is do it in a much more managed fashion that's a lot simpler than log shipping. And then the other component we need is the domain controller, make sure that everyone has access that they need to have access to it.